Hey everybody, welcome back. Mike here with Nerdy Tech. Today I'm gonna go over a kind of a very small distinction within Azure as it relates to your VM states that can end up costing you a lot of money, which is never a good thing when you get a surprise bill at the end of the month. So we're gonna go over stopped versus deallocated states for VMs today. That sounds really boring when I say it out loud, but we're gonna get into Azure and we're actually going to do some testing and I'll show you some stuff. So it should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. All right, so here we are inside of Azure. So I said I want to talk about these two states. I'm going to draw this out actually. I wasn't planning on it, but so when you create a VM, you have kind of three states, right? We'll say stopped, deallocated. If I can spell that, there we go. That'd be great. And obviously running. We don't care about running, so that's off the table. What I want to talk about is the difference between this and this, between stopped and deallocated. So essentially what these are is when we stop a VM, I'm going to say shut down by operating system. So that's when we've actually just gone in, maybe we run like a shutdown command in Linux, or in Windows, we go to the menu and shut it down. That stops all the processes, that maintains IP addresses. I'll just put IP addresses. There we go. And it also kind of keeps, keeps hardware, I'll say hardware allocation. So the VM is not gone, it's still allocated to the hardware, right? It's just kind of shut down, right? Just like if I were to shut down this laptop, it's still there, it's just shut down, right? Now, deallocated, it seems like it would be a very, almost the same thing, and it pretty much is. I'm gonna say shut down. In this case, I'll say in the portal, but you can also do this from Azure CLI, PowerShell, and that sort of thing. So, but in this case, we're gonna do it from the portal. So I'll show you that. But see, it says shut down in portal. Doing this, I'm gonna say releases non-static public IPs. That's probably the biggest thing you should know. And in this case, I'm going to say we lose the hardware allocation, right? Because it's deallocated. So what's the big difference between these two? What is the whole point of this video? Well, it is when we have deallocated, we don't have to worry about compute cost. It's deallocated. Now, we still have to pay for storage and that sort of thing, but we don't have to worry about the actual compute cost. With stopped, compute cost is a thing. This means, I'm going to put $signs. This means if you were to go into your, you had 80 VMs for some reason, you had a huge lab, and you just went and shut down -H now in Linux, for example, on them, they get shut down, they are considered stopped, not deallocated, and you will still get charged for those. So it's a pretty big distinction in my opinion. Although I think for some people, if you're just playing with 1 or 2 VMs, you delete it when you're done, not a big deal, but it's good to know this. So that said, I want to flip over into Azure and I want to show you this in practice. So here we are in Azure. Now, like I said, I have no idea what I have here. So let's go to virtual machines. Okay, so we have 2 VMs. They're both in the same subscription. That works. The status for both of those is running. Perfect. Let's do a test. So I'm not going to worry about billing. You'll just have to take my word for it. If you don't believe me, Azure documentation will support everything I'm saying. But in this case, if we go to Pizza Web, let's just stop that one first. So let's go right into it. We're going to hit stop. Let's remember that. So we're going to click stop on Pizza Web, and we'll go ahead and click that notification out of there and exit out of there. So that's stopping. We can tell by the notification up here, it's still doing something, so we can see right there. But I'll leave that. Now for WebVM 7, let's go the other route. Let's go issue the shutdown command, and let's see the difference. The way that I'm gonna do it, I don't even, to be honest with you guys, I have a couple of subscriptions. I think this VM was created during my AZ900 course. I don't remember anything about it, so I know I don't have any keys for it to SSH in or anything, and I probably wouldn't have even enabled it, honestly, in terms of from an NSG standpoint, from my firewall policy is what I mean. So in this case, the easiest way to access it really is to go to the VM, and if you go to connect, and then if you go down to the very bottom, see where it says more ways to connect. I would prefer to SSH if I could, but this is just easier. So if you go to the very bottom, it says serial console, and if I click on that, that'll pull up a really simple console, which again is kind of ideal for here. Now, the one problem I may have is I don't know if I actually know my credentials for this VM. So if I don't, this video is gonna magically pause and re-enable, and I'm gonna know my credentials for this. Let's see what we can do. Azure user. I have never done this in a video where I was so unprepared. Oh my gosh, it worked. That was a miracle, total miracle. I usually use just plain keys, so I don't even remember setting that, but we got lucky. All right, so we're here. So let's issue a shutdown-h now command. And by the way, I wanna see, before we do that, actually, I wanna show you guys something. Yeah, so you know what? I could issue that command right here, obviously. I'm actually gonna show you something else though. So if you didn't know how to get to this console, you do now. Obviously SSH is ideal, but also if you go under the VM and to the very bottom, go to, where is it? Run command, I just saw it. Okay, not in the very bottom, under operations, run command. So if you go there, this is a way that you can actually run shell commands. You can actually issue it from the portal and it'll run it in your VM. So if you click on run shell script, you can then give it a specific command. So I can just say shutdown-h now. And the funny thing about this too is, you know, I didn't need to actually go in and type in my credentials or anything, right? If I just hit run, now I will tell you, it will take a little bit of time for this to execute. It shouldn't take that long, but it takes a bit of time for it to kind of get a response, I guess. So we will see here, it says script execution in progress, not really a script, just a single Linux command. We should see this go green here any moment now. All right, okay, it didn't go green, but it does say that script execution complete. And if I X out of this and I go up to overview, we should see pretty soon this is going to change. From running, this will change. And actually now, if we wanted to, we could go to connect again really quickly if we move fast and go back to our console, and we should actually see it shutting down. So let's see. Okay, yeah, there we go. So we can actually see it's powering off. We saw it, yeah, there you go, power down. So that's all I wanted to show. I did not see, this is the awesome thing about Nerdy Tech, right? I didn't actually plan on showing all of this console stuff, but here we are. So maybe you learned something new. I don't know, probably not. But let's X out of here completely now. So I'm gonna pause the video here. And these VMs, let's see if I refresh, because that one should be down now. Yeah, there we go, okay. So the one is stopped deallocated. That's the one that we hit stop on within Azure. The other one says updating. That one will update here shortly. And if we just keep refreshing, I'll go ahead and pause the video. Perhaps it might take a few seconds, but all right. So it looks like after about 30 seconds, it still shows updating for this VM. However, if we go into the VM, we should, yeah, look at this, status is stopped. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure why that is, but I've actually seen a lot of things in Azure will act kind of weird when we make changes. I've noticed a lot of times we'll have to refresh or, you know, change views or something. Usually a refresh does it, but in this case, it seems like the GUI is just not, or the portal is just not updated with the proper status here, but does reflect it. So anyway, the point is this one is now definitely stopped. We confirmed that already by going to the VM. But the difference, of course, is we issued a stop command or shutdown command on the bottom one, and it's still going to charge us, right? We still will pay for compute costs on WebVM 7. We will not pay for compute costs on pizza-web because it's deallocated. So that's all I really wanted to go over, was just showing you the difference there. of, stopping it through the portal or through Azure CLI versus doing it inside of the operating system, and the implication. So that's all I got for you in this video. I hope you found it useful. If not, just feel free to click on one of those other videos right there. If you found it useful, drop me a comment, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. That helps me, and most importantly helps you, because then you'll get notifications when I release other stuff where I look like a total idiot. You'll get notifications when I mess up and forget what I was gonna say. It'll help you because you'll get notified when I drop new videos of cool Azure content that teaches you something you didn't know before. Nailed it. I don't know, sorry, that was weird. I'm still talking, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording before I keep making a fool of myself.